And without further ado, again, my name is Todd Collins. I am the leader of the Todd Father team here at 7K Metals. I've been in 7K now for since whatever September of 2022. So we're going on a little over 2.5, September 2021, sorry, going on a little over 2 years and going strong. Love the company, love everything that we're doing here right now. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Bob Reid, the one of the top people enrolled in 7K Metals. He is very far up the line from myself and Phil Godlewski and all the other people that are in the PSI team. Welcome to the rest of you who are from other teams that Bob is the leader of. I am honored that you're here and have taken some time tonight to join us to continue learning about the basics of network marketing. As Bob, I think this is week 5, continues to take us through his 7-week course, the basics that we need to do to master this business of network marketing, which is very different than anything I've ever known in the past. The greatest business, in my opinion, the business model, I should say, in my opinion, that ever exists. And 7K Metals found a way with the founders and the C-level that they have to marry precious metals, gold and silver, along with a network marketing company, and give each and every one of us an amazing opportunity to not only stack precious metals and accumulate wealth and trade our dollar, which is devaluating at a pretty rapid pace, this fiat currency for currency, precious metals, silver and gold. And no matter whatever happens in the world for the history of the world, the United States and the greater world in general, the value of an ounce of silver and the value of an ounce of gold is always going to be the value of an ounce of silver and the value of an ounce of gold. We can't say the same for the dollar. So without further ado, Bob Reid, I'm going to turn the floor over to you, and I'm going to go ahead and take myself off of video so I give you all the bandwidth I have to offer. Thank you, sir. Hey, Bob, you're on mute.
Thank you, Todd, for that gracious introduction and for the introduction of part 5. Part 5 of the basics of network marketing. It's a 7-part series, and it seems simple, and that's because it is simple. Network marketing is not a complicated business, not a complicated concept, and that's why you do not have to have advanced degrees to succeed in it. People from every walk of life succeed in network marketing. And that's why this 7-part series, to actually give the essence, the essentials, that if you do them and you learn to master them, you too can succeed. And so it's just a matter of time. And I always say, would you rather the 50-year plan or the 5-year plan? Now, for some people, it may take longer than 5 years to succeed big time. But with a company like 7K Metals, where your check is an above average check of $500, that all you need to have is one person you sponsor on your left, one person you sponsor on your right team, and then that you grow that team, you help duplicate that team, and yeah, you can get up to 500 points. And so it's a matter of, do you do it in a few months to get up to that 500 points, once a quarter, or do you do it once every month, or do you get it to once every week? And so tonight, it's proper follow-up and how to harvest your pipeline. And harvesting your pipeline is follow-up. Now, there's basically 3 types of follow-ups, okay? And there's basically 3 groups that we're going to talk about. The first type of follow-up that we do is that for our hot prospect. These are the people we just made a presentation to. So there's a methodology in that follow-up. And most of the time, you're going to do it with either your sponsor or one of your first upline leaders that you're working with, and you're going to utilize the three-way a lot, if not the majority of the time in follow-up. Uh, and, uh, and by the way, a lot of people say, well, when are we going to do handling of questions? No, handling objections and answering questions. Oh, by the way, that's part 6. That's coming up next week. Okay. So, but what we're talking about is a systematic way of following up. So, uh, when we talk about prospecting and that hot prospect and three ways, like in part 1, and do go back and review that, that's where you really are just making a connection again. You made a connection, you made a peak interest, you reached out, you got them to hear a presentation, you sit down and watch the video with them, they watch the video. Well, once they watch that video, I don't care if it's the 4-minute and 44-second video or the 17-minute video or whatever current video you're using to keep people and utilize, then a methodology of follow-up. And so that first follow-up is with you. And that first follow-up goes something like this. You ring that person up and you do it within 24 hours of when they saw you sent them that link. And the faster, the better. If you send that video and it takes you 5 minutes to watch it, if you're doing the 4-minute and 44-second, or if you're doing the 17-minute, it's, hey, I'm going to call you back in 30 minutes. And then after you watch that, and let's talk. Okay. Or I'm going to call you back in 10 minutes if you're doing that. And let's talk. Let's see if you see what I see. Oh, well, you got to be calling them back then. And so when you call them back, you only have one thing to say. Hey, Bob, what you like best about that video you saw? That's all you're going to learn. And they're going to either answer, well, I interested, I got a lot of questions, or, well, I don't know. They kind of lukewarm, or they kind of seem a little bit, or they say, I'm not interested. So they're going to fit in one of 3 categories. You got to categorize them, because that's where you're going to put them. That last one, where they're not interested, well, they in your pipeline because they're already on your list, because they were put on your list before you talked to them. And that's in the series where we talked about how to build your list and work your list, part 3. Okay. So now start to see how these things all tie together if you learn how to do it systematically. Now, follow-up has its own system too, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And let's say if they got a lot of questions, you say, yeah, oh, I understand. I had questions too. Let's get them answered. When is a good time to do it? I want to make sure I give you the information that you need to answer the question. Let's set a time for this, and let's have some time, about 15-20 minutes at least. You set an appointment. Who you're going to have on the line with you? You're going to have somebody that can answer most of those questions. It's somebody in your upline, somebody that's already successful, somebody that's already handled questions, that's that 3-way again. So you're going to learn how to handle objections and answer questions by hearing that. And on those 3 ways, remember, you're quiet. You don't interrupt. You don't interject your thoughts, your opinions, your question. You are a listener. That person handling that 3-way is the one talking to your prospect, not you. You just made the introduction. That's it. That's a proper way to handle that 3-way. And so we got to learn how to do these things correctly too. Okay. So let's get away from that hot prospect, because that hot prospect is we're going to continue on with that team leader. It's going to be mostly three-way, or let's take that second, that mediocre kind of person, and you say, well, I know you need a little bit more information. Why don't I send you this executive summary? Gives you a little bit more information. It takes about about 18 minutes, less than 20 minutes, and you send them, or you get them to a presentation. Try to get them into a presentation. Now, if you've already got them into the presentation that first time, you're doing kind of the hot prospect, and you're finding out if they're one of those three categories. Now, if they're the mediocre category, that's a person you're going to follow up with more frequently than the person's, I'm not interested. Okay. That's the pipeline. So both the mediocre and your hot, they're all in your pipeline, but how you work them is a little different. And we're going to get to that, is how you harvest that pipeline. That's the latter part of proper follow up and harvesting the pipeline. So, the whole goal of follow up is to check in with that particular prospect, who does not respond initially to the presentation, but they might respond more favorably as they're given time to think about the opportunity or the products, and our products are gold and silver, okay, and or whose life situations change with time. And that's why you have to have a follow-up system. And so that's the whole prospect, the whole system of follow-up. Now, you in the whole beginning process, and we teach this all the time in prospecting too, you've got to make sure your prospects feel comfortable with the idea they don't have to sign up right now, that day. They've got to feel that, because if you're pressuring them, that's high sales techniques, and nobody likes that. And in fact, it kind of pushes people that you would have had into the business, in your business. You want to leave them for your proper follow-up system. So you want to make sure your prospects feel comfortable. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're not trying to close them. Doesn't mean you're not asking them to join. Doesn't mean, don't you see all the statements you use, but you don't pressure them. You don't push them over the edge. You don't make them feel that pressure. You do it. But if you can't, rely on your follow-up system to reintroduce them to the opportunity later, or in their time frame where they're more comfortable, because we don't want to twist a person's arm to do something against their will, because they just won't do it then. They might join to get you off their back, but that is not the type of partner that you want. You want a partner that sees what you see in their time. And so part of the follow-up, as I mentioned, you got to have a system, and that's what we're going to talk about. Now, of course, with computers and data and technology today, the computer data base and using systems is very, very efficient. But here's the key: it's not duplicatable by the masses. I'm pretty good technically, but I don't use a computer-based system. Okay, unless somebody's got one for me and it does all the work, and I just start plating it. There are some groups that have that for their teams. Well, that's good. That's great. But as long as it's something they easy can do, and that the next person can do it, and they don't have to do a lot of learning, they don't have to know a lot about technology. But the system that has always proven effective me is the manual system. That's why I teach in your list building to get your spiral notebook, one name per page, and because you're going to have room for this follow-up system. That's what it's all about. So part of that, building that prospect list, and part of the follow-up system, is that you got to have that very good database, that very good prospect information sheet that builds with time. then in the beginning, I want you their name and their phone number, maybe their email, they try and get the state they live in or the city, their address. But what you're going to end up on that page with that person with time, especially during your follow-up prime, is you're going to end up with different phone numbers, their spouse's name, their spouse's phone number, the number of children they have, names of the children, birthdays, anniversaries, type of occupation, type of hobbies they have, primary interests that they have in this business and their, and any other kind of little comments or things that going to make that person a much more warmer contact with you with time. And you're the one that's going to remember all these things. They may not remember all these things about you, but you're the one that's going to be, because you got your spiral notebook, you got them in your database, and you got them in a system that you're going to be referring to and working with in a programmed follow-up system. Okay. And this is duplicatable. Everybody can do this. You don't have to be a technical expert here. And you don't have to do this all at one time. It's done day by day, time by time. And you're going to always be building that database, that information base. You're always going to be meeting new people. You're going to be always captured. But what you got to get in the habit of, when you collect a card, you get a name or something, you got to put them in your database. You got to put them in that list that we talked about in list building. Okay. So this then gives you the ability to have a proper follow-up system. Okay. So you don't just stack up cards. You do it then, because if it piles up on you, you're going to miss contacts. You're going to lose them. It's going to be misplaced, and you're not going to, and then you're going to be searching, wasting time trying to find something that you misplaced because you didn't come in and put it down on that thing. Okay. That's the key. Okay. So follow-up system is required for network marketing. Because this goes back to the basics, number one, and the job description I give you. And so let's just for a second, let me share my screen. Let's go back to something that we need to see once more again and try and get this share up. And I picked the wrong one as usual, huh? And so let's share again. And here it is. Okay. And we will get to the job description. And everybody's familiar with the job description, but this fits. I want you to see the pattern, how everything fits together for you tonight in this 7-part series. Okay, right here, working those 5 a day. A lot of people say, well, 5 a day, that's too many. Well, hey, look, you really want to get up to 10 a day. You really want to get up to 15 a day, because that 5 a day takes less than 30 minutes if you're doing it properly, but both for piquing interest in the beginning and then for follow-up. So this is a combination of peak interest and follow-up. So, oh, yes, when you get to where you're just following up and you have very few new people to pique interest with, it's all follow up. And so you better be doing 5 a day. You better have your list built up to more than 100, because if you're doing 5 a day, that's 25 a week. That's, you already went through your follow up of your list of 100. So that's why you got to build it to 500 the way I teach in the list building. So understand, everything ties together in this system with the basics of network marketing. And everyone can learn these. You don't have to have a PhD, but you do have to work in a system, because systems are duplicatable. Systems can be taught. Maybe you can't teach it, but that's why I'm laying down the 7 basics for you, the 7 parts, the 7 essentials to succeed in network marketing. Now, time, that's different for everyone. And building large organizations, That's different for everyone. But at least in a binary with a left and right team like the 7K comp plan, the vast majority of people can succeed here if they stick to it, they stay focused, they put in their 10 hours a week on their business doing these 7 essentials. Okay. Now, the 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 other part of follow-up and methodology of following up is being able to use the right tools with whichever group you're following up with. Okay, let's take those hot prospects. Okay, some of the essential tools that you're going to need there is what that 17-minute wealth strategy video, some of your videos with more detail on sound money, some of your videos with more detail on stack and sell, because you may have questions with. So you got to be familiar with the website. You got to be able to be familiar about sending them to the website, showing them the FAQ section. That's tools. See, those are things you can do if not, but if you're not, you always do it with someone else that is very knowledgeable with that in your 3-way with you in that follow-up. Now, the other tools that you want to use in that hot prospect as you before they've engaged, but they still have questions, is you want to use some of the tools that I have, that I've provided for y'all, that you don't have from the company. You're going to use the tool like with the autosaver of why I tell you that you're not paying what you think you're paying for that autosaver. And that's a video. And when they talk about the price of the autosaver or whatever, you say, absolutely, I know what you're talking about. Let me send you this. Let me send you this piece of information. I think it's going to answer all the questions you need. The other thing you need is the tax consultants that I provided in its tools that tell about the 1099 tax benefits. So you can always learn to, in follow-up, it's part of answering questions and handling objections that's coming in part 6. Learn to be a good question asker. When they say, well, I buy my gold and silver over here. Well, then you say, you learn to be a good question asker. You say, well, do they pay you to buy their gold and silver? And just be quiet like I did right there. A good pause. You say, because see, we learn how to get paid by buying our gold and silver from 7K. And so we teach other people about gold and silver and why they need it. And then we refer them, they become a member like at Costco, and we can get referral income. And that's pretty cool. You want, oh, would you like to know how we make money? Okay. I led that into that other tool you need. And I put up 2 videos just recently, one about a 9-minute video that doesn't explain the total comp plan, but it's enough for that prospect to see the basics of how this thing works. Then I did a little PowerPoint presentation going through, and I put them up. It's a little longer. It's about 20 minutes or so. And it just takes them step by step. Here they are. They get them put in the computer. They got a team and a right team, and then we help them with people they know, and we get a person join on the everyone how to make their first $100 check. Okay, all I need to you in that hot prospects or show me prospect. You kind of use that. They're really interested. They're interested. They just mediocre. They didn't tell you no, they're not interested. They're not that category 3, which went straight to the pipeline. Okay. And the reason I keep saying that is your follow-up with them is going to be at later cycles. See, that hot prospect, you're going to follow up and you're going to follow up maybe 2, 3, 4 times in a week. Every time they get something, you're going to follow up on what you gave them. And every time you give them something else, you're going to follow up with them. So you may end up following up, but what you don't want to do is become a pest. So you have to judge that by your conversation or your either text conversation or personal conversation. So you have to judge that. You and who you're working with become good judges of. That's all part of learning too, see? So for the kind of mediocre, lukewarm, don't know, but maybe I'm interested. I don't know. I don't have time. All these kind of things, but didn't tell you no, I'm not interested. Okay. That person you might put on a weekly follow-up list. Okay. So now we're starting to make a system. Okay. Now that that person told you no, they're definitely on a 30-day follow-up or longer. It depends on the strength of that no. Okay. But you still want to keep them on the follow-up. What you don't want to do, and you want to keep your list where the person says, no, and don't ever call me back again. Well, you definitely put that on a 6-month follow-up. Okay. Doesn't mean that you won't call them back again. You won't send them something. You're going to put them a little bit later. So now we got our 3 categories. We got our follow-up. We got the system. We kind of understand the system and understand it all as that spiral notebook again, where you got your list in. That list you're going to be building over 2 years to get it up to 500 names on that list. Okay. And we're going to be working systematically through that list. And that's the reason you have all this space. You're going to have, every time you follow up something, you're going to use your own notes. So you can use little initials for different videos, but you're going to have the date, what you send them. Okay. And then beside that, you're going to have your follow up and maybe a little comment. You don't write dissertations. It's just a little word or two note. Okay. That's it, because you need to be able to quickly go through your list, and then you go through, and now when you work in your 5 a day, well, you got the people who did not join, don't have that great big star on their page. If they join, have a username, and you're going through working 5, and you're sending them something. So now you got to work with your tools. So you got to develop a selection of, of pieces that you're going to use for your follow-up. I call them tools. Okay. Now it's like the tax consultants 1099 benefits, a little tool. Hey, would you rather have your taxes just going to the government to waste, or would you like your taxes to help you buy some gold and silver? Here, listen to this as a CPA or tax consultant. Hear what they have to say. Okay, so you're sending them a follow-up. You're sending them a tickler. You might send them a sound money wallet, little 2-minute, 3-minute video. You might send them an inflation video. You might send them any one of our tools. We got so many. You might send them a brand new coin that just come out, one of the great little videos we have on coins, and say, you can only get these coins from 7K. Wouldn't you like to have some of these? You might share them a Kennedy coin. I bought my Kennedy coin last week or a month ago, and I just saw that I paid 119 for it, and I just saw its current market value is X amount of dollars. So you've got to have kind of like your little list, and the 7K system app gives us a whole bunch of lists that we can use, plus the tools I provide for you in our with the bibliography of tools that I've provided you. You have everything you need to do your follow-up with. It's just a matter of doing it daily. 5 out of 7 days. Doing your 5, even if it's just follow-ups. And you go through that list, and you've got a systematic way to go through it. And then what you really want to do is try and get them ultimately to another get them ultimately to another three-way, get them in front of a president, get them to a regional meeting or a local meeting, maybe a company meeting in the area, maybe a Zoom. Zooms are a lot easier to get people to now. And so that's our system. And this is how you harvest that prospect list. Now, do you see what I see? Do you see if you've got your list of 500 and maybe you had 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10? I don't know how many people joined you in your first 2 years, and personally you sponsor and you place them on your left and right. Even if it's one, well, you still got your list. But do you know you have something you have an income producing activity to do every day? You don't just sit back and expect this to work and make you money. It's not. You've got to do income producing activities. You've got to do the basics so that you can do an income back. You got to build that list. That's why I work so hard to teach people the essential is your list, and not just the one in your crazy old dumb phone. I'll call it. Mine's not as smart as y'all. It doesn't do what I want it to do most of the time. but you know what? You can also do emails. You can also do texts with all these tools. So you want a combination of things that you're following up with your people. And what I do want you to keep a record of is the tools that you sent them. You don't have to keep a record of every text, but it would be nice if you had a conversation, you have a note of that conversation and a date. Was it a positive or was it a lukewarm, or was it, well, they're they're still they're still in the longer term follow up, But this is how you make a duplicatable follow up system. This is how you harvest that pipeline you built up. Because see, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now, all those names that don't have stars on them and usernames, Bob, on that page, you've got a list to work every day. Then when you're adding to that list, when you meet somebody new at church, meet somebody new in an organization, meet somebody new at the gas station, meet somebody new at the store, meet somebody new at whatever event or family function or whatever, hey, you just added to that list that you're going to put into this system. It's all about systems, and it's all about duplicatable systems. That's the important part of success in network marketing. Notice the words that are all similar in network marketing for success. Simple, duplicatable, system. If you don't have those, you don't have a system, it isn't simple, and it's not duplicatable, then you're not going to be immensely successful. But if you get down to the basics, become a master at this 7-part series that I'm giving you, then why work the 50-year plan? We get to accumulate wealth. We get to secure our wealth by buying bullion. And believe me, the market is changing. The first 3 years of 7K, no one beat our bullion prices. And I knew every player in the marketplace. We always had the lowest price, unless somebody was doing a loss leader like JM Bullion every once in a while, or SD Bullion, put a loss leader in for that day. But let me tell you, that was few and far between. Well, we had COVID, we had all kind of shakeups in the marketplace, but 7K is a different player today than it was in the beginning. Oh yeah, we had a little bit of power, but today we got a financial strength that no other really player can play with us. You're going to all see we're going to have our our lower price. If you've noticed, and I put it out a few times in the past here, I mean, I bought a 10-ounce gold bar. I saw it on there. There was nowhere in the marketplace. The closest price to that was $500 more, the closest price. And it went up to 2,500. And I told everybody about it on my training. I sent it out. I said it there, and we sold them out because it was a great buy. Well, we still have those great buys that stick in there. But what I'm telling you is that marketplace is changing, and we're going to be back to where we were again so that we have great prices in the marketplace. And that is going to solve a lot of these problems that people have kind of incurred during the short term of this market correction of supply demand. So we're going to be offering a membership where people get to learn about gold and silver. Everybody's becoming aware they need to own gold and silver. We are the only platform that will allow them fully insured for a private vault, not some deadgum stupid depository, where they can have a private vault and they can accumulate incremental gold and silver for the first time in history, and they can diversify and get rare, unique, proven in the marketplace to be rare, unique collectibles that gain value faster with time. That's called true diversification. So learn how to follow up and learn a systematic approach at it, and just keep trying until you get this system. Listen to this over and over and over until you can get the system down pat that I just described, because it's a manual system. I hope everyone sees what I see. I hope everyone understands what I understand. And I hope you understand that this 7.5-year-old company is going to be a multi-billion-dollar giant. There's nothing that's going to stop that. And it's going to go around the world. And you have an opportunity to have a left team and a right team. Watch my basics of the compensation plan. And when you get 25 people on your left team, 25 people on your right team, buying that 20-point coin once a month, that's 500 points. Where could you do that? And you only need to sponsor one on your left and one on your right. And if you really dig into my trainings and understand later, everyone will have a family business pack. So you're in total control of that check yourself anyway, no matter what. Hope you see what I say. Hope this works for everyone, because I know it works. You just need to work it. And it gives you income producing activities to do every single day. And so the key is, will you do them? Thank you for your time and attention. Back at you, Todd.
Bob, that was fire tonight, sir. Thank you very, very much. We had a couple little internety glitchy things that happened there, little delays, but overall that came through loud and clear. I just the duplicatable process that you created for a brand new associate to be able to come in, do the very basics right out of the gate. Push Derek French, I mean, just put a comment then a minute ago. We can all push play on a video, simple and duplicatable. And 7K continues to create collateral, marketing materials, videos, and other things that we can share with our prospects with the 7K Wealth Systems app and other things that they are in development on. I think there's a bunch of great things coming in the next weeks and months ahead from what I hear from 7K as they continue to find ways to show this membership and the value that it has to every prospect that you possibly could dream of. And I think that That's the easiest thing that we have is this duplicatable process that you're teaching here tonight is I don't got to know anything. Pardon my grammar there. I know that was horrible. I don't have to know anything about silver. I don't have to know anything about gold. I don't even have to know anything about a 7K Metals membership other than the fact that I've heard a presentation and it works for me. And then all I have to do is dial into my upline and through the tools and the resources, the attitudes and techniques that you're teaching, just continue to create that duplication of finding two people who can find two people who can find two people, so on and so forth. Too easy. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here now, unless you have something else to add. We'll jump back on for a little quick Q&A here. It's been a good 45 minutes, but let's go ahead and switch this over. Hold on one second, everybody.